You see them every single day, right? The big yellow school bus. It's so common, so much a part of the background, you probably don't even think about it. But what if I told you that behind that iconic color is an incredible story of science, safety, and just brilliant design? Well, today we're going to peel back the layers and find out what makes this everyday vehicle so special. So, let's just dive right into the biggest question of all. Why that specific color yellow? I mean, why not red or orange or bright green? Well, it was absolutely not a random choice. The answer is the key to understanding why the school bus is one of the safest vehicles on the road, and it's the start of a much deeper story about safety by design. You have to remember, before the 1930s, getting kids to school was kind of a free-for-all. We're talking about kids piling into horse-drawn wagons, old farm trucks, you name it. Then, as companies started building actual school vehicles, it was still a total patchwork of different designs and colors. There were no universal safety standards. This chaos, as you can imagine, led to some serious concerns and finally a huge turning point in 1939. And the man who decided to fix all this was Dr. Frank W. Sire. He was a professor at Columbia University, and he organized a groundbreaking national conference in 1939. He brought everyone together, transportation officials, paint experts, engineers, manufacturers, with one single crystal clear goal. Let's create a set of national standards that will keep every single student safe. So back to the color. At that conference, they looked at a bunch of options. Orange, for example, is fantastic against trees and natural scenery. But the color they ultimately chose, which is officially called National School Bus Yellow, has a really specific scientific superpower. It's not about being the brightest color, it's about how our brains see it. Turns out, we can spot this specific shade of yellow 1.24 times faster in our peripheral vision than we can spot red. Now think about that. That tiny split-second advantage, especially in the dim light of early morning or late afternoon, that can make all the difference in the world. But that brilliant color? That was really just the beginning. A school bus isn't just a regular bus that's been painted yellow. No way. It is, from the ground up, a purpose-built safety machine. And this right here, this captures the idea perfectly. It's not just getting from point A to point B. It's a rolling suit of armor. Every single component is engineered with one main goal in mind, protecting the kids inside. So, let's break down how. One of the biggest keys to this protection is a concept called compartmentalization. It's actually why most large school buses don't have seatbelts, which sounds kind of weird, right? But the high, padded, energy-absorbing seats are packed closely together, creating these little protective cocoons. It's literally like putting eggs in a carton. In a collision, the force gets absorbed by the cushioned seats all around the student, not by the student themselves. Pretty clever. Have you ever noticed those black metal strips that run along the side of a bus? Well, they're not just there for decoration. They're called rub rails, and they are heavy-duty steel guards. They're placed at very specific heights to deflect impacts away from the passengers and to add a ton of structural strength to the whole bus frame. And then you have this simple but honestly brilliant little device, the crossing control arm. You've seen it. It swings out from the front bumper when the bus stops. Its whole job is to force students to walk far enough out in front so they stay completely out of the driver's biggest blind spot, which is the most dangerous zone right around the vehicle. Now, not all school buses are built the same. They actually come in a few different flavors. The smaller ones, what we call Type A and Type B, are usually for shorter routes or for more specialized transport. You can kind of think of a Type A as being built on a really heavy-duty van frame, which makes it a lot more nimble for getting around tight corners. And here are the big ones, the ones we see all the time. The Type C is that classic bus, the one with the long hood that most of us picture. Then there's the Type D, which is the flat nose or transit-style bus. That design gives the driver a much wider, more panoramic view of the road ahead. Okay, so the bus itself is an absolute fortress, right? But its incredible safety record isn't just about the hardware. It's just as much about the people, the procedures, and the incredibly detailed planning that happens behind the scenes. A huge part of this planning is making sure there's access for absolutely everyone. The law is very, very clear on this. For students with disabilities, transportation isn't some optional extra. It's a legally required service, and it's essential for them to be able to get their education. It's a right. And that legal requirement, it translates into some unbelievably detailed plans. This right here is called the wheelchair envelope. It's a precise diagram that lays out the exact space needed for lifts and for the systems that secure the chair. Every single inch is planned out to make sure students are not only safe, but can get on and off the bus easily. So, supporting these students involves this whole comprehensive system. It all starts with a personalized plan for each student, called an IEP. It means making sure all the specialized equipment, the lifts, the tie-downs, is perfectly maintained and working. And, critically, it means giving special training to the drivers and attendants who work with these students every single day. And that brings us to the drivers themselves. It's a role that demands so much more than just knowing how to drive. They go through intense background checks, regular physicals, and drug tests. They're trained in emergency procedures, student management, and route planning. These are highly trained professionals who are responsible for our most precious cargo. So after more than 80 years of this fundamental design being the king, where does the iconic school bus go from here? Let's take a look at the bus of tomorrow. Well, a major change is happening under the hood as school districts are looking at different kinds of fuels. You've got compressed natural gas, which is cleaner, but the tanks are super heavy. Electric buses are amazing, zero emissions, but they have challenges with range and charging times. And then there's renewable diesel, which can work in existing engines, but sometimes struggles in cold weather. It's a constant balancing act for every school district. Technology is also adding all these new layers of safety. Modern buses have things like onboard cameras, GPS tracking, and even driver assist systems that can help prevent a collision before it happens. And, really importantly, they have stop-arm cameras that can automatically ticket drivers who illegally pass a stopped bus, which is still one of the biggest dangers students face. But you know what's truly remarkable? For all these amazing modern upgrades, the core principles from that 1939 conference have held up. That specific yellow for maximum visibility, and that tough-as-nails design for passenger protection. Dr. Sire's original vision is still the absolute gold standard for keeping kids safe. So, the next time you see a yellow school bus roll by, you'll know. It's not just a bus. It's a legacy of science, safety, and really thoughtful design. And it leaves us with a pretty fascinating question, doesn't it? As technology like AI and autonomous driving keeps moving forward, what will the next great leap for student safety actually look like?